For sure this time.
I was going to say we should do a toast before we're rolling, but...
Let's do a toast now.
We can do a toast now.
Cheers, baby.
Cheers.
To me and you.
To Rhythm and Booze.
To Rhythm and Booze. You gotta drink it? Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Rhythm and Booze with Mikey and Nikki. I am Mikey.
And I'm Nikki.
And we have some big news for you. What'd you do this summer?
I got engaged this summer.
We did it! We did the thing! I got on my knee, and she said yes, sorta.
What do you mean I said yes,
you said you said it so fast. Yes! I was like, did you say it?
It was an easy question.
It was an easy question. We are super excited to share with all of you, all 5 of you, that we got engaged, and it was a hell of a ride for you, mostly. Well, no, mostly for me, actually.
Probably more so for you. I think we have very different experiences as to how all of that went.
Yeah. Before we go even further, we're drinking the Veuve. I know we drank it before. We're going to try our best to do more.
Yeah.
And we had the Costco one, which is also very tasty. But
I feel like all 5 of you should send us drink suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like a bottle of rum that you love, or it's
bourbon or whiskey,
a cocktail that you want us to try and
exactly.
make, and we will do it, and we'll do it on camera so you can see how bad we are.
When she says we, she says me.
But I will do it too.
You do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it'll be good.
Well, then definitely tune in for that.
But yeah, I would love that.
That'd be fun.
We should take not viewer but listener suggestions.
Viewers too. They're watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna tell you the story about how the engagement happened, and then we got some other plans for the rest of the show as well.
Yes. So I guess I'll get into it.
Yeah.
I'll give my perspective, and you can give your perspective.
I'll give the commentary of what was going on behind the scenes while you were like, "What the fuck is going on with him and my kids?"
Leading up to this Vegas trip, first of all, it was like a year ago that we started talking about taking the kids on this Vegas vacation, and part of the reason is that you've been planning that long. Both of us have our various experiences growing up and having vacations in Vegas. Mine were mostly family-based, but we would always visit the Strip, and we'd check out the new casinos and ride the newest roller coaster, whatever it was. We always did that. And Mikey had a very similar experience in that way. And so we wanted to give that same experience to my kids, because every time they've gone in the past, it's been family. We've gone and stayed at my grandma's house, which is great, but they've never really experienced going to casinos and staying in a hotel. And
having fun on like the Strip, because Anjali always says like she had remembers like the crazy people of Fremont, which is downtown, which I don't blame her, but we're like, let's just not go to Fremont this time.
Yeah, so we wanted to give them a really good, positive experience and show them the reasons that we like it there. Take them to fun restaurants. A show, yeah, all kinds of things that we really enjoy, and just share that with them.
Yeah.
And so Mikey had this entire trip planned out. I had to keep asking him, like, what are we doing this day? What are we doing that way?
We planned it almost a year in advance, almost like 9 months or so. And in my head, I was already thinking, like, well, that's around our anniversary. So we were like, oh, let's just like have it at the same time. And then I remember like 3 or 4 months ago, maybe a little more, I was like, whoa, since we're going to be there, might as well extend it. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. And the hotel was super easy to extend, so it was like dirt cheap and in comparison. And it was like, oh, it's going to happen. Oh, it's going to happen so good.
So we had this fancy dinner planned, and it was at this place called Lakeside, and we've gone there with a group of friends for my birthday before, and it's kind of like you sit outside, and there's a show that happens every 15 minutes after the sun goes down, and it's really nice. Get a nice big lobster and steak, and all. We're looking forward to this dinner for a long time, and so we got all dressed up fancy because we're going to this fancy dinner, and it's the first time the kids are going to a fancy dinner.
Yeah, we got them all dressed up.
And we get downstairs.
On the way from the hotel downstairs.
We have to go to a different hotel, so we go down the elevator.
And you still have no idea. You think we're just going to dinner, but I made a little plan with the kids to tell them that, hey, when we leave, someone else is going to come into the room and fix it up, but I got to clean it. So I'm going to pretend I don't have my keys with me. So I need one of you guys to like give me your keys because I'm going to forget my wallet. And you thought it was so weird. You must have been like, what is going on?
It was just weird because he was acting funny all day. So we get down the elevator.
So nice.
And when I think back now, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
But at the time, I like wasn't even paying attention. And he goes, "Oh, I forgot my wallet in the room."
And then Junie comes up like automatically. The little actor is like, "I got a key." Like in this such a funny way, like moving his shoulder and like smiling, grinning at me, like almost winking at me, like I'm doing the plan. I'm like, good job. Like tone it down.
But yeah, I didn't even think twice about it. So I was like, okay, well, I'll take the kids over here and wait for you.
And I ran upstairs and like grabbed her bag and like threw everything into the closet and like fixed the bed and like fixed the whole. There's a whole dining area in our room, and I moved everything around so that the planners, like party planner type people, these people, decorators, would come in and decorate the room. And I'll tell you what it looked like in a minute. Let's get to the next part. So I come finally downstairs, and you guys are like, "Oh, okay, that was like." What did you think? Do you think I was upstairs for a long time?
No, because I was. The kids were dressed up nice, so I was taking pictures of them. Okay, now sit here and do this, like I normally do.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I felt like it was just a couple minutes. It didn't feel very long at all. So
it felt like forever for me when I was
really
up there.
Wasn't paying enough attention.
Well, then we head over to the Wynn to eat at Lakeside, and we get to the front. And we're there a little bit early because I'm like trying to be like, okay, gotta be on time, gotta be early, gotta make sure we go back at the right time because we only have like a window where the photographer's supposed to be there. And I go to the front, and I put our name in, and they're like, oh well, we'll seat you down in like half an hour. I was like, is there anything outside? They're like, oh yeah, we could probably sit you there, but it's pretty hot. And I was like, damn it, I'm gonna sweat like crazy. And then I come to you, and I'm like, hey, there's outside, but like.
I was like, yeah, great, let's do it. It's not that hot.
And I was like, oh shit. Like I'm wearing like a jacket and like wool pants, and I'm like already sweating.
Yeah, and normally it's not an issue if I'm like, yeah, let's sit outside. Yeah. It's going to be an extra 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
we'll do that. But in this case, he was definitely acting a little nervous about it, and I was like, all right, well, that's weird, but it's fine.
It was so nerve-wracking. I'm like, I'm gonna sweat through all of my shit right now. Like, it's gonna be so bad. And luckily, it was perfect. It was like low 90s, and there were like fans around, so it didn't feel too crazy. So we sat down, and I was in my own world. I was there, but I was also like checking my phone every couple seconds because I was like talking to the decorators and the photographer, which is like 3 different people, and texting all of them at weird times. And during the whole thing, like I could see your like level of annoyance, like confusion, like why are you checking your phone all the time?
Well, the reason is because whenever we get text messages, a lot of the time they're at the same time because it's work. So we're in a group chat with all of our staff members, and so anytime a text comes through, we both get it, and that wasn't happening. So I was thinking, well, okay, it must be like a family emergency thing because that happens too.
Yeah.
Or just like your family needs you to handle something for their business.
I think you asked me. You were like, what are you looking at? I was like, come up with something real fast. I was like, oh, I was looking at the time because the show is about to begin. The restaurant is next to a lake that has a show in 15 minutes starting at like 8 o'clock or something like that. So I was checking my phone, and I was telling her, I was like, oh, I just want to make sure we're here for the show, make sure we're hanging out.
It was pretty funny. Now that I look back, I see all of the clues, but at the time I didn't get it. I was just getting annoyed. As
the dinner progresses, me and mostly Anjali are getting really nervous, and we can see it on each other. And we're like, and she orders her food, and food arrives for everybody, and it's super great, but she can barely eat. Like, she really liked it. She kept saying, like, I really want to eat, but I can't, and I don't know why. Like, she was, like, putting on the drama.
It was really funny because it was her first time ordering, like, a fancy chicken dish.
Yeah.
Because she's been, a vegetarian for most of her life, and now she's exploring meat.
Yeah.
And so it's her first time ordering, like, a fancy
she wanted to go for
dish. And she couldn't eat it, and she was being really awkward about it, and it was just really funny. I see that now, too, when I look back. Like, I get it now, but at the time, it was like, okay, she just doesn't like it, and she feels bad that she ordered it.
Funny. When you left to the bathroom, she turns to me, and she goes, stop giving me your anxiety. And I was like, it's like you're not even nervous. I'm like, I'm very, very nervous. She's like, so am I. I was like, oh, is that why you can't eat? It's like, yes. She just, like, let it all out for a second when you left. And so we're sitting there, and it's like it's also their birthday month, the kids' birthday month, and our anniversary. And I'm telling that to the waiter, kind of in a side pass away from the table. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna need the bill too because I'm gonna ask my girlfriend to marry me tonight. He's like, are you gonna do it here? I was like, no, we're gonna do it. He's like, okay, I got you. So he brought out like the kids like little ice cream and like a cake thing.
Yeah.
And did it for them real fast.
Well, it was funny because I got back from the bathroom and then the birthday thing arrived and then they took a couple bites and they're like, okay, time to go. I'm like, but the show, we just sat down. I'm like, you guys want to leave already? We didn't even do the thing we're here to do.
We saw one of the show out of like, there's supposed to be like 6 different shows that happened that night. We saw one and a half, that commercial one.
Yeah.
For the weird show at the Wynn.
So we left the restaurant and this is my daughter's first time wearing like 4-inch platform heels too. And she is booking it. I even took out my phone and took a video of how fast she was walking down the hallway.
Because
she was booking it.
Yeah, on the way in, she was like, definitely taking it easy. Like escalators was a whole business thing. But when we left, she was like in front of us the entire time, like she wore them all of her life. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was really great. So finally, we're getting back to our hotel. We're going up the escalator. And I mentioned something again about Mikey being on his phone because it was really weird.
She was so annoyed. She was super. I know when you're annoyed, like you're like, what the fuck? Like that's so annoying. Like, because you know me, I'm not like that, and I'm usually with you, with the kids, like we're hanging out. But I was definitely like, checking again.
It was really funny. Now that I look back, it was really funny.
And then finally, the kids are in front of us. I'm gonna pour while I talk, and the kids are in front of us as we're heading upstairs, and then we're like 10 feet behind them, and I'm like, finally, I like think of the perfect.
Lie?
Lie, yeah. But I think of the perfect lie. And I turn to Nikki and I say, well, here's the thing. The kids will have a surprise for you, and I've been trying to like organize it for them, and they asked me to do this for you. So like, that's what I was doing. She's like, oh, like everything, your whole like aura became like very like clean. And you're like, oh, okay. And then you asked me, I was like, what is it? And I was like, no, I can't tell you. That's the surprise. And then that was fine. So then your energy was way better. The kids were super excited. We get up to the top floor. Sorry, rewind to the beginning of the week where I asked the front desk people. It was so perfect. You were there with me, and then you left to go be with the kids for a second. And I turned to her, and I'm like, I'm going to ask my girlfriend to propose to me. Yeah, I'm going to ask her to do it for me. Why not? And I'm going to ask my girlfriend to marry me. And she was like so excited. She started tearing up. And she's like, what do you need? I was like, could you give us the furthest room down at the end of the hall? Like, whatever you give us. She's like, yes, totally. Like, do you need anything else? I was like, no, it's okay. Like, just put this person's name on the room so they can get in. And yeah, it was really great. She was like, oh. She was all flustered when you came back. It was so funny. So fast forward to the night of, we get to the edge of the hallway, which is like a little bend. And I asked Nikki okay, you have to stay here while me and the kids go and like give us about a minute. And you're like, okay. And you're like totally weirded out. And I'm like, go kids. And they run to the door and they get in there and I put them in their place and I meet the photographer for the first time. I'm like, hi, hello, okay, cool. And I'm like sweating and like drenched. I feel like I'm sweating and drenched, but they turned off the air conditioner in the room, so it was extra hot in there. And I walk in there and it's perfect. And I grab I grab the speaker because I want our song to be playing when you walk in. And I start playing it, and I run outside and I tell you to come down, and I fucking forgot the ring in my bag. So I ran back in and grabbed the ring, put it in my pocket, and then ran back out. I was like, just in time to meet you at the door. And then you opened the door.
You opened the door, and remember when we left the room, it was a mess because we'd been there for 3 days at this point. And so kids had shit everywhere, I had shit everywhere. And we walked in, the room was perfect and clean. There's this giant lighted marry me sign, the kids standing there being all cute.
It's like 3 foot tall letters.
It got me.
Little bulb. Oh yeah. You can hear her gasp in the video. And it's like, I was like, yes, I got her. And there's like flowers on the ground, all on the path and everything. And I went big. I went big for it because it was like, I needed this to be perfect. The kids were so excited the entire time, asked me the whole week, like, okay, so that day? I'm like, what do we need to do? I'm like, just make sure your part of the room is clean. And they were trying their best all week. And they were so happy and smiley at the end. They were like, what do you want us to do? I was like, just stand there.
I thought they just really loved the hotel room because they kept like wanting to put the bed away and put things away nicely. And turns out they had a plan.
They had a plan the whole time, yeah. And then we did the thing. I said a couple of words and you nodded and you think you heard it.
And then you were like, put the ring on. And I said, no,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to do it.
I got down on my knee. Oh, I got down on one knee, but all day I was practicing. I was like in the bathroom, practice. And in a casino, when you went, I was like, I practiced. And then like I was like in the room and I told the kids, I was like, hey guys, watch this. And I went down and they both go like, you're silly. Or I was like, you're silly, goofy.
Goofy.
Yeah, goofy. And I put on the suit that I was gonna wear that night when you were getting ready, and I practiced again because I was like, if these pants split,
I know.
when I go down,
pants, huh?
I was like, ugh, and the pants did not move at all. And I was like, yes, the pants.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute, but Mikey has a history of splitting his pants at
Yeah.
Hollywood in contests.
Almost everywhere. I've done it many times, and rest in peace my pants for the past. But I remember getting down on one knee and then looking up at you, and I was just like, this is it. This is the part. This is the part. And I like, you ever feel that feeling where you go through a moment and like, I think you get such a blood rush that you can't hear? So that's what happened to me. I was down there. I was like, I heard myself, but it was like, it just all sounded like muffled in my ear. I'm like, I think I'm saying the right things.
It was great. It was perfect.
Yeah. And the photographer took a bunch of pictures and the kids were super happy. And then you, like, as soon as the photographer left, you promptly like fell on the ground. You're like, yeah, in the pool of rose petals.
My son Arjuna was doing it was a snow angel with rose petals and throwing them and throwing balloons. And so by the time, I don't know, 15 minutes had passed, the room was completely destroyed with rose petals.
He was
and
so
balloons.
happy. Like,
So cute.
He was just like building off the energy. Him and Arjuna and Anjali were just so ecstatic, and that's what I was hoping for. I wanted them. Well, when we spoke about getting married, you had one stipulation: make sure the kids are involved. I was like, easy. So, but I didn't know if they could keep a secret, and they can. They're very good at it now. And I told them basically how to surprise lie when it counts.
Lie in the good way?
Lie in a good way. Why not?
Fib. That's what my mom calls a fib.
and I think it worked out really well because they were really good. At some point, you had said like, "Hey," you said to me like, "Hey, why are you looking at your phone so much?" And Anjali from across the table, as I'm holding my phone in my hand, goes, "What are you talking about? He hasn't even pulled out his phone once." And I was like, "Exactly. Just gaslight your mom a little bit, just for a good cause."
Yeah, you guys are a good team.
It was really great, and I hope it was something you can remember, and I hope the kids remember it forever as well. And it's the start of our story now.
And now we have a wedding to plan.
Amongst all the other
the 10 other events that we have in the works.
Things, weekly, monthly, yearly. Yeah, we have, I'll say more at the end a little bit, but we got some shit planned for you guys out there. Dancers and burlesquers. We got some cool shit planned for you guys for this end of the year to next year.
We'll tease it at the end.
Tease it. All right, so we're going to move on from here. Camp Hollywood is literally from tomorrow from where we're recording today. It's tomorrow, and it's our hometown event. I'm sure you guys know, but if you don't know, Camp Hollywood happens in LA. It started in Hollywood in 1998 and is still continually run to this day by the same organizer, Hillary Alexander. And we have a lot of history together there and separately. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to say some of our favorite memories.
Do you remember your first Camp Hollywood?
I remember my first Camp Hollywood. It was the second one. It was 1999. Because 1998, I didn't think I was good enough to go. So my brother and my older brother and all his friends were going, and I was like, okay, let me know how it is. And then they come back and they get the VHS tape, and all of that rest of the year, I'm watching that VHS tape building up to that 99. In 99, they had it at Palladium in LA.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. And I went to classes there in a couple different areas, a couple different dance areas in that around the Palladium. But I couldn't go to the dance because it was 21 and over. But I find out later that they snuck in a couple of their like underage friends, but we weren't a part of the cool crowd, so we couldn't go in there. So I kind of missed out on everything. But the social dances at least. But I went to all the classes that year, and then basically I've never missed a Camp Hollywood since then.
Yeah, I've never missed one. I started going in 2004. That was my first Camp Hollywood, and I did everything. I did all of the classes.
Mm-hmm.
Those were my first classes with like Marcus and Barbel and Eric and Sylvia. And I did my first contests, won my first big
Which one was
contest. Which contest?
Yeah.
It was the Pro-Am, which
Mm-hmm.
set me up to then have to compete pro. I'd only been dancing a year. And the rule that I think has still continued now is if you win any of the
Contests, competitions.
what are they? Yeah,
The amateur.
the amateur. If you
Yeah.
win any of the amateur competitions, you have to compete in the open.
Yeah.
So after a year of dancing, now I was competing against all these people that were the pros at the time,
Yeah, which is hilarious.
which is crazy,
Yeah.
which is great
It's
actually
always
for dancing.
it's always funny to think about that because that was 2004, right?
Mhm.
And then so summer, so let's say July back then, July.
Mhm.
August, September, October, November, December. That's when we got each other, and that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Where we first had a good dance and contest in,
Mhm.
in what was then called a Jack and Jill or a
Yeah.
mix and match.
But I remember taking the Big Apple class
Oh yeah,
with Marcus and Barbel, my first Camp Hollywood. And it's the first time I'd ever learned anything beyond the shim sham, and some basic
like jazz.
line dance stuff or jazz dance stuff. And it was a 2-part Big Apple class. And I went and I sat down and I cried halfway through the first one because it was just so beyond me at the time, and I was just struggling with it, and I was so like frustrated and mad I couldn't get it, and it's just really funny to think of that.
Yeah,
that was my first big camp.
Really funny to think about
class.
you like getting so frustrated you had to like walk away and cry for a little bit like that. It was like sorry, there's a flyer in front of me. Sorry. I was swatting at a fly, don't worry. But that's really funny to see you walk away from something like that because that's not you anymore.
No, it's not. And I think ever since then, I've made it like when I learn choreography, I need to learn all of it as fast as possible because I hate that feeling of feeling frustrated that I'm not getting it.
So much more, like there's so much to talk about with that because you're like a machine. When you get choreography, you get choreography. It takes me longer to get choreography than you get it. It feels like that fast now. And I'm like,
because
what's
of that
that?
traumatic
experience. Every traumatic experience leads up to like awesome, better experiences.
Sure.
But flash forward from Camp Hollywood then, when I was being a jerk kid and you were crying in the corner, to us competing and teaching there.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the first routine that we did there?
First routine that we did? Yes, I do. I
Which
hated
one?
that routine. It was the green. We
The
call it the green
routine.
routine.
The green routine. Yeah, you
Don't
can
look
see,
it up. It's
I mean,
not
don't,
good.
you can see it there, but it's just like it was a lot of. We were very influenced by So You Think You Dance.
Yeah.
It's a badass song.
A
It's
bad
a Duke like Jubilee Stomp, I think, and we had a lot of ideas, and it was cool, but yeah,
it was just beyond us. We tried to do things that we were not ready to do, and tricks that we were not ready to do, and
exactly.
it didn't go well.
But that did lead to the next one, which is even better.
Yeah.
Which is Georgia Swing Shift, and we did a mix of Georgia, I think by Steph Smith. Yeah, Steph Smith and Django, because he was a singer, and then we mixed that into Swing Shift by the International.
Oh
no! It's the all woman,
the all
female big band, and International Sweethearts.
Yes.
A rhythm.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's
Oh,
right
I
there.
knew it. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, that's such a badass song, and it's like I think 2 minutes long. It's such
a great
good,
song.
still to this day, like such a good song, and we just had this idea that like we're just like let's do a slow thing into a fast thing, like see where people like it, and we did so many tricks that were new to us, but at the same time, like if we didn't do that green act before, where like we pushed ourselves too far, like stuff we just couldn't quite get into this new area, where we're like, okay, now we know our limits, and now we know what we could do, and that routine like really set us off because that was really fun. It was like everything we had learned up to that point, basically.
Yeah. It was awesome. I love that routine.
Yeah.
Still, when I look back at that routine, I still love it.
Me too, for sure. And I think that was the same year of the Mario and Luigi one, where Emily Wigger and Morgan Day did the Mario and Luigi track, which went like completely outside the swing world, went viral, and everyone was loving on
great.
it. Yeah, we beat them though. Sorry, so we got first.
So we won.
Yeah. But yeah, and then okay, so we're talking about some good stuff. Let's talk about a bad thing.
Okay, 2006.
2006. Was that 2006? No, 2006. Go for it.
We had just
Competing.
competed all day. We weren't teaching classes there
No,
yet,
definitely.
but we'd been competing all day. It was late night. I think it was probably 3 a.m.
So we've been drinking.
So we were drinking, and we used to always, a bunch of us would get together in the hallway, and what tricks are you working on?
Yeah.
What new cool thing are you working on?
There'd
What
be like-
jazz step are you working
There's
on?
like 10, 20 people in a circle, and like a bunch of people just throwing aerials like on carpet, thinking that we're safe.
So yeah, we were doing the Frankie flip, but we were doing a version where Mikey jumps at me and then throws me out.
Yeah.
And we were doing it alongside Peter and Nina.
I think Peter, Nina, and Jose and Shannon from Dallas, and also Nell and Joe from Denver.
Well, I didn't even remember all those
Yeah.
people.
Oh, I remember all those people. I remember that, like us all like doing like trying to figure that shit out. And then we're like, oh yeah, and then we were like, we got it, and we're like, got it once, and then I feel like I got you really good, but I got you too far,
Something. But
and then you landed.
I landed and my knee popped. It was a really loud.
Yeah.
And I hit the ground and saw stars.
Yeah.
And had a group of people around me, and I had some person standing over me doing this with their hands
Trying to
around
help
my
you with
knee,
energy.
trying to give me energy. And I was like, somebody just get me to a hospital.
Yeah.
And
Did you end up going to like an urgent care or something?
I went to the ER.
Mm.
the closest
God.
the closest Kaiser ER, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it looks like you ruptured your ACL." And I was like, "No, I don't believe you." And this was, I think, when Camp Hollywood ended on Sunday, and this was Saturday night.
Yeah.
And the next day, I sat around on crutches, and then the very next morning, got up
Mm-hmm.
on crutches and flew to France to teach in France for the first time on crutches
Oh my
with a
God.
blown out knee.
And no painkillers or just Tylenol?
Just Tylenol.
Ugh.
It was
God.
awful. Imagine getting on an airplane after that.
No, I don't want it.
No.
No, I don't want it. I'm just going to trust you. I don't want to imagine it, but you've told me so many times of how fucking crazy that story was to go with a broken leg, basically, on a plane where everybody's body kind of like inflates a little bit. I can't even imagine what that pain was like, and I don't want to, but also that makes me feel like you are one of the strongest people I've ever known to still go through that like forever ago. And again, that was 2006, and we've been dance partners since 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Most of our dance life, you had this blown out knee, basically.
Yeah. Well, I had it repaired. I had it repaired in 2006. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I also had it repaired in 2006. So, but when we were in France, we were in the south of France.
Yep.
And so instead of teaching classes, I got to just lay on the beach the whole weekend. It was great.
Oh, man.
Other than the knee thing, it was
Yeah.
great.
I think, I can't remember the year, but then fast forward to like 5 years later, possibly. I think 4 years. If that was 2006 or 2010 or 2011, maybe 12. But
It's
who
all a
knows?
blur.
It's all a blur. We're competing in the Open,
The Strictly.
the Open Lindy, and it's the end of the song. We just did the all skate. It's the final round, and we're feeling good, and I'm gonna hit the splits, and then we did, and we jump. I went all the way down, and we held it there, and I was like, something moved, and it was like the same thing. It's like something popped, and I was like, and I remember looking up at you, and I was like, I can't get up, and it didn't hit me like it wasn't pain, but it was like, there's something wrong, and I was like, I can't get up, and you're like, what do we do? And then David Frutos saw me, and I'm like, I can't remember if he was in the contest or if he was just on the sidelines. And I remember looking over, and David's looking at me like what he can see what I'm feeling. I'm like, he's like, what happened? I'm like mouthing. I'm like, I can't get up. And he runs over and picks me up and takes me from the middle of that stage all the way around into the back end of the ballroom. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I remember trying to straighten my leg and put any weight on it, and it was not. So to this day, I don't really know what happened because it kind of fixed itself. But I think it got dislocated, my knee, because I would do like a jazz split where my right knee would go bent behind me and my left leg would be straight in front of me. And it's always my right knee that's done this. This is the first time out of 2 times this has happened to me. And So yeah, I was sitting there with an ice pack, and there was like 2 nurses that are also dancers. They were helping me out, and they were telling me just like ice it off. And I remember they didn't know what to do, and I was like, let's just go back to my room. And they found a cart. They found a baggage cart from the hotel and got me in it. Put a chair in it, and I was just like waving at everybody, and got back to the room and promptly broke down and cried for a long time. Yeah. And you helped me and you consoled me for a while, but I was like, I just want to call my mom. And my mom was also just, don't worry, you're okay, just come home, you'll be fine. And then I remember like moving around, like I was just like moving my knee like back and forth, like trying to like I don't know, like just moving around, just when you have a pain, you're like, so maybe if I like push it past that pain, maybe I'll be fine. And I remember bending it because I could bend it, and then like kind of moving my knee down and kind of that finger 4 stretch, and then it like popped again, and I was like, oh. I was like, I pushed it out, and there was like no pain.
It just popped.
Yeah, my knee just popped. The exact knee. It knows it's talking about us, or when it knows we're talking about it. And then I was like, oh
I'm
my
pretty
God,
sure you
oh my
taught
God.
classes the next day.
We taught classes, but we were supposed to teach an aerials class that next day, and we were like, we have to trade. I'm like, I can dance, but I couldn't make it happen. And so Hillary was awesome, and she's like, of course, no problem. And someone jumped in instead of us, and we just took their class, and that was great. The next year, we taught an awesome aerials class, because that whole next year we were like, we better like learn our shit. Like your knee injury, my knee injury. So we got stronger, and we were like telling everybody like, hey, aerials are not
gotta be an athlete
around with.
to do aerials.
Yeah, so there's pictures online where we were making everybody warm up, like by doing push-ups and like runs in place and like stretching and making sure they did all that stuff beforehand. And that was a really fun and great class. But enough of that bad stuff. And good stuff for you.
What else?
The pageant winner.
Oh, 2014. I was Miss Camp Hollywood. I think I won because I brought Dave Frutos. Again, Dave is like such an integral part of Camp Hollywood. He's in all the stories. But I brought him up on stage and told him why he was important to Camp Hollywood.
Aww.
And then I went and I sat on the judges' laps and drank their drinks. And then I won. And I think that's why.
Camp Hollywood is
special
because it's like the ultimate frat party. But then the classes changed, and now the frat party has turned into a nice get together.
It's the only work weekend I think that we have that we go to the pool and we have some drinks. Or no, first we go to classes. We teach great classes, and then we go to the pool and have some drinks, and then pull ourselves together and go compete against all the people we're just hanging out with at the pool. I mean,
we don't anymore.
We'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
You know we're going to do that on Monday.
Most people do.
But speaking of Miss Camp Hollywood, some version of that competition may be coming back next year. Yeah. To be determined, but I know that's been one of those things that people have been begging to come back, and it's kind of in the works.
Yeah,
so.
I feel like it's time for it to come back, and I won't speak on any details, but at least the things you've been telling me, I'm like, oh yeah, that seems like the smart way to do it. So more details to follow. The last thing we got, or at least for this one, is Anjali. Anjali has some history on Camp Hollywood. She knows it. She grew up there.
Yeah, when my daughter was 2 years old, three.
I think 3.
Oh,
if it's 11,
3.
If it's 11, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, I think she was 3 years old. She won the intergenerational contest with her dad, Shesha. And it was the cutest thing I'd ever seen. And she just is such a natural performer. Oh, yeah. And all the competitors were lined up in the back. And there's video of all of this online. It's awesome. One person in the audience put out their hand for a high five. And so the next person put out their hand for a high five, and the next. So she ran around the entire dance floor and high-fived everyone in the entire front row, and then came back and got in line. And it's amazing.
It's the best thing. I think you have video of it. Someone has video of it.
I have video of the entire
for
thing.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's just so adorable. And after that, they changed the contest. So you had to be a minimum age of, I think, 13 or 14 to enter, which is only fair. But I think it's because she won with her cuteness.
Totally. Everyone's like, well, that can't happen again. That's just cheating.
So Camp Hollywood, obviously not just for our own individual reasons, but for us as a partnership and for even our families. And it just has such a crazy, long, important history in our dance life and the community's dance life.
Yeah, we have like trophies and jackets from all of our times and competing there and stuff. I know we talked about a lot of competitions, but like this event is so much more than the competition. The competition is definitely a high point for sure, all of them, because people work their asses off to get that first place. Like it's so amazing to watch a lot of the Southern California scene. I'm sure other scenes too, but our local scene really practice hard. Like all the last 2 months, especially this past month, has been full at Atomic, renting space around there because people are going in whenever they can, multiple times a day, to go and practice for an hour or two or more. And it's just super inspiring. Like we grew up doing that, and it's really great to see the next generation come up and still continue those.
Still struggle with the same
struggle.
tricks.
Yeah, still struggle with the same.
It's really funny to watch. I mean, it's really awesome because we know exactly what they're going through. We see them put on the song that Jonathan typically plays for the finals and come out and do their solo just like we used to do all the time. And not that we're done doing that. We'll probably do it again at some point. But it's funny to see the next generation, generation even after that, coming up and doing the exact same thing that we were doing.
It's really inspiring for sure. Every time I see them, I'm like, God damn, I wish I could be out there doing that same thing. But at the same time, I'm also very happy someone is still doing that. Like that feeling, that tradition of working hard as an athlete would, as a dancer in the Southern California scene has always done. But yeah.
One more Camp Hollywood highlight.
One more.
Yeah, what's one of your favorite Camp Hollywood moments?
Let's see. Okay, there's two that come to mind, but I think the one that really sticks out for me is the routine I did with Joe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Sentimental Mood. That one was like, again, like building off of like all of our routines and like trying to push ourselves to do something different. Like my fascination with So You Think You Can Dance and like our fascination with So You Think You Can Dance. Like just seeing other dance styles and like trying to grab at it. Like trying our best to really bring new ideas to our dance. Like reaching out for more. And I feel like in this one I did with Joe, it was a bit of a joke at first. And then it became like something more in the sense of like, I really want this not to win. I really wanted to go and just like kind of prove a point and just be like, this dance can be more than just joy. It can be kind of emotional and be every side of the spectrum as opposed to just the one, which is totally fine. But I think at that point in my dance life, I was definitely like, what else is there? Like what's on the other side of this coin that we're all looking at? The joy, the happiness. Like, is there the sadness kind of builds it? Like, you can't be happy unless you know what sadness feels like.
I could see why that one's so important, especially at Camp Hollywood, because Camp Hollywood is typically a type of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's you go there and you throw down and flash and trash is valued
high energy,
and
like
high
crazy.
energy and be the vintage aesthetic.
Yeah.
And coming in and doing something a little bit more modern and integral.
And it was really great. And it was really hard. Like, and we can go more into this because it was hilarious because we competed against each other that year.
Mm-hmm.
And you and Nick at LHC the week before, and then the next week we won at Camp Hollywood.
And we got second to you guys.
It's so funny. Like it was cool. Like I honestly was not even hoping for first. Like I was very surprised, or even surprised that we placed at LHC, and mostly just because like I was like saying it's like not Lindy Hop, but I was like, it is Lindy Hop. There is like the elements. I made sure to have elements in there, but like I knew it wasn't gonna do well. But I was wrong. Like people really liked it, and I remember getting the feedback and getting lots of things, and it was exactly the thing I was hoping for. The feedback that I a lot got was that I didn't get it. It made me feel like this, like something completely different than what people are used to, like high energy, vintage, like this aesthetic of Lindy Hop that we all come to know. Like they all expect that, and then it's like they're throwing this curveball. They're like, well, I don't know how to feel about this, but can I just tell you what I feel? Like that's what ended up happening so many times. And I'm like, good. I wanted you to feel something else, and if you're confused about it, great. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like when a musician comes out with a song and it's very like just dreamy, and all the lyrics could mean so many different things, and the artist doesn't say what it is. It's like it's up for you, the listener, to put your own emotion onto it, and that's what matters. not mine, because that's mine. Like what yours is, when you listen or you see something, that's what matters. It's on you, the viewer, to be a part of it, to actually take responsibility for what you've just seen and then add yourself into it. So like that was that whole idea in general, and like I was just so happy with it, and it was always funny. Like I swear, I thought you guys were gonna win again. I swear.
We were hoping.
I legit was already so like far away. I remember, I know where I was. I was in the back of the ballroom. I was talking to Christian and Jenny just randomly, and we were just like this, and they're announcing. I'm like, I'm not even gonna listen because they're not gonna call me. And then I didn't even know they called you guys' name, and I was like sitting there talking, and I heard my name, and I was like still talking to them as I get up. And I'm like, yeah, you know, like, and I like start walking towards the front because someone called my name, and I was like, oh, and then like halfway through the floor, I was like, oh shit, oh, we won. That was crazy. So that was really crazy, but that was really an amazing moment for me. But definitely, like, I wouldn't have gotten there if it wasn't for our time together and the things we learned, the things we created together. And like, to this day, like when I think about our beginning of our dance life, of our life together, it still is like, there's a lot of ups and downs, but I think that mostly all of that is good because it got us to this point, and it got us to a point where we really understand each other and we communicate a lot better. You know, we have our trappings. I mean, you know, every once in a while, whatever. But still, like, we're able to get through it because we trust one another. And we have really great rapport at this point. You know, I've injured you. You've injured me physically, not on purpose.
True, not on purpose.
And I think it's really amazing to see this event that we go to, and it feels like a second home. Yeah,
and again, like I was saying, you have your history and I have my history, and I think, you know, your time there, me watching you experience your different, you know, competition partners and whatnot, my time competing with Nick or other people besides you, it's really fun to now go back as a partnership and bring all that past experience into this year. And this year is going to look a little different because we're not doing as many contests. We're judging more than we're doing anything else, judging and teaching.
Real quick, to take it back a minute, just to like speak on the contest. The last, like, not the last contest, but like the last Camp Hollywood before the world ended in 2019. We were like, let's work up to the Open Lindy. Let's do it. Like, let's do some crazy shit. Like, let's go for it. And then we end up making it, and we're like, holy shit. Yeah, with zero plans. And that year, like, I swear to you, like that year, Jonathan played the fastest he's ever played that contest. Like, I watched last year's, I was like, that's nothing compared to what we danced to. And and we get in line, and Nils and Bianca are ahead of us. And I'm like, fuck.
If you don't know who Nils and Bianca are, go do your homework.
Which is great because they got to go out there and do their thing. The crowd kept yelling, and we go out there, and I can't hear the beat. I can't even hear the band. Like, I'm just like, I think this is it. I think you can maybe hear it, or did you not hear it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, and we go out there, we dance as hard as we can, and we do a couple swing outs, which are awesome. We felt great. I feel like we were like definitely like we worked towards that whole year. Like,
but we just
really
didn't do anything.
Yeah, and that's fine. But we worked hard on ourselves, like as like dancers, to like really not push ourselves forward, but push ourselves to at least match it. It was fast, but like I remember it being like, well, I'm not that tired. Like, that was great. That felt really awesome. And I remember at the end, like, swinging out next to Nils and Bianca, and I was like, we can still keep up with the kids. We're the oldest people fucking out here. Like, blah, blah, blah. And afterwards, I'm like, oh, I can stand up straight. I don't have to bend over and gasp for air. But that was the last time that happened. So,
So this year, we are competing in classics and running the auditions.
Very nice tempo.
Again. So we talked about this once before. I'm just going to do this real quick and we're going to wrap it up here.
Yeah, we're good.
But if you come to the auditions, cool kids, come to all the classes too. Yeah.
That is legitimately the biggest thing. Like, we had, like, it must have been close to 300 people.
300 people
right? in that front room, in the like the one that's like really narrow with a hallway, or it looks like a hallway, and we had to have like sets of people to dance on the floor and off, and it wasn't the best experience. So this year we've tried to fix that a little bit, having a bigger room and being aware of that. But through all those people, we must have had at least 100 people make it.
Probably
maybe more.
75 to 100.
I think it was closer to 100, especially with that second audition that we had.
Yeah.
And I swear, every time we passed by that audition room, like you can see inside the audition track, it was like 20, 15, 10 people at a time. I'm like, where the fuck are all these people?
But it's fair though, because a lot of those people that are in the advanced classes are the ones that are staying up dancing till 4 a.m.
Right, but also like if you're going to audition for this class, come to the classes.
Yeah.
I
see both sides. But
I get it.
Come to the class.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I see both sides too, but like, sucks. It's like, why did you even come to the beginning? Like, it sucks for other people because if you're coming and you know you're gonna make it, you're like a shoe in, you're like whatever. Like, you're kind of taking a spot as somebody else's experience. You know, like more good on you to go out and dance all the way until like 4 or 5 in the morning. That's awesome. No traffic's there, but like when that class comes around, like you could really learn some valuable information. Like, it could really happen, or give it over to somebody that's actually gonna love it and actually gonna be like, okay, I'm going dancing until 12. Call it a night so I can take these classes. So it's just something to think about. I'm not saying you should do this, but it's just something to think about.
You know what this means, right?
What?
You have to get this out tonight.
Yeah. That's the idea. I'm going to go upstairs. We're going to go to Arjuna's back to school night, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to pack, and then I'm going to post this.
All right. So to wrap it up, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to our wedding.
It's cheating.
That's the easy question. Oh, that's the easy answer. But I think I am definitely looking forward to that wedding. We are heading back there to go look at venues soon, which is really great. I can't wait to do that. I'm very excited. I'm very into this whole thing.
I see that.
I like the idea that people, I like the idea that we're going to have a party about us. You know, it's like a birthday, but like better because it's both of us. It's like we have a birthday on the same day.
Yeah.
Tradition.
Yeah, there you go. We have an audience for the first time. My mom's watching our
Say hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. I'm not talking.
I can hear that.
But yeah, what are you looking forward to?
We have a couple before the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple other events in the works. So, Biltmore Ball's coming up.
Ball.
We have something special maybe coming to Minor Swing in March.
Definitely.
But
and
I can't say anything
the
else
fucking
about yet.
hopefully return of Muse because we've been like
Muse has been off for 2 months because of a almost hurricane.
Hurricane, and then like
drizzle.
a mix up in schedules and.
But we'll be back September 17th, and then we have some changes coming for next year that are really exciting. So there's a lot of fun stuff coming up.
It's a lot.
There's one more event though that the word is sort of getting out there. The Cowbell Cabaret.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So at Cowbell in January, Mikey and I are emceeing the event again this year, which I hope it's okay that we said that.
I mean,
sure. But yeah, we're back.
Yeah, we're back, and the administration, Laura and Jen asked us to produce a show.
So we're producing a show called the Cowbell Cabaret,
and
there's some information out about it already now. I believe tickets are
going to be on sale. I think this Friday.
Yeah, going on sale tomorrow.
Yeah, during Camp Hollywood.
And definitely get a ticket to this event. It's a special event at Cowbell. It's a special ticketed event with a whole dessert bar and a cash bar and a champagne toast.
We'll put some information in the kind of details down below in the podcast and also YouTube. But it's going to be ridiculous. Like, we're already coming up with a couple ideas. We had a meeting today that went very well. It's going to be better than just any floor show you've seen at a festival before, which they're all awesome. It's great to see the dance that you came to see like shine in a really great light. But I'm going to take a line from Mickey Fortnasque that like Balboa doesn't get a lot of spotlight on stage in a performance venue like this. So it's going to be really, really great for the community and really great for the ball dancers to finally have their time to shine in front of the spotlight on the stage. Yeah. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. That's it. So thank you guys so much for listening. You guys can catch us on everywhere you look at listen to podcasts, and you can watch us on YouTube. And thank you so much. Bye. Bye. Good job, baby. Cheers.